following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy on this beautiful Friday morning here in the mountains of western North Carolina and everywhere around the world. They even had a snow day in Canada. That's shocking to me. David Smith, Armchair Commentary, joining us once again in the comments here. And it's got to be aggressive snow to have a snow day in Canada, I'm sure. So there's 14 inches where he's from. Is it your phone? Is your phone the one that's making the noise? Laptop. One of them.
No. I don't know which one it is. I've got 47 screens running over here.
He's got all the screens running. Not sure which one's making the noise. Welcome into the program. We are live in the Wicked Weed studio, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different. I'm Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene alongside. We welcome everybody in to the chat box. Hit the subscribe button. Share it out with your friends as well so they can join us. And today we're going to do the 3-round mock draft, all the AFC teams. We will be recording the NFC teams as well to put out tomorrow. So we are not going to leave you hanging over the weekend with the 3-round mock draft. Jeremy has carefully sculpted the first 3 rounds of the draft. And yes, he has loaded his New York Jets, who have 4 picks in the top 40.
Well, here's the thing. It's kind of hard to not load a team
Agreed.
That has that many picks.
Agreed. But anyway, we'll go team by team for the AFC here today, as well as, well, first off, let's get into Thursday night football last night.
We figured Pittsburgh didn't figure out that the game started until about 10 minutes ago in the third quarter, so we could be late this morning and it'd be fine.
Yeah. So much for that whole if Dalvin Cook plays, he's probably going to be limited thing.
He only carried the ball 27 times.
Right. He only had the best first half he's ever had in his entire career. He ran for, 170 yards, I think it was, in the first half. 2 touchdowns as well. Scored 38 points, and he was on my bench in every friggin' league I owned him in.
Well, there's that.
When you suck, you suck. What can I say?
Well, here's the thing. I told you yesterday I like 2 receivers in this game. Chase Claypool.
Yep.
And KJ Osborne.
Yep. I won my touchdown dance on Monkey Knife Fight last night, thanks to Najee Harris and KJ Osborne. It was a profitable night, so I felt pretty good about that. But the game was very surprising. I was not expecting the Minnesota Vikings to be up 23-0 at halftime. It got up to 29-0 before Pittsburgh finally started scoring. And all anybody could talk about today is Chase Claypool. Chase Claypool going down the time is ticking away, and here's Chase Claypool posing with the first down little NWO Outsiders thing.
Yeah, Chase Claypool's not exactly the.
Now wait,
he's not exactly a rocket surgeon. Let me put it that way.
Okay. Now after the game, he was asked about it, and did you hear his response?
No.
His response was, "When I caught the ball, I knew I was at the hash, and that's where they were going to place the ball. So I had some time before the referee got there. I was getting ready to get up and hand the ball to the referee when Trey Turner came over and stripped the ball out of my hands."
Yeah, because stop doing that, you dumb shit.
He had time.
Hey,
you go back and look at the tape. He had time.
This is just one of those things that, all right, I feel like this should be played at the NFL Symposium. Scoreboard! Look at the damn scoreboard. Before you start dancing, maybe you should realize that for 3 quarters, you have gotten your brains bashed in.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe stop dancing. Maybe. Maybe that's a good idea. Maybe just play the damn game.
Right. Now, I
love Chase Claypool.
Oh, I killed him.
For fuck's sake.
I killed him, and then I heard his explanation, and I went, you know what? He's right, though. He actually did have time. After he did his little thing, he stood up, and as he turned around, you could see the referee coming in, and Trey Turner gets in between them and takes the ball away from him.
As well he should have. And you know what he should have done right after that? He should have read for him and just gone, dumbass.
But that was Trey Turner's fault. It was not Chase Claypool's fault.
No, it was Chase Claypool's fault.
Nope.
Stop dancing, you dipshit. And I, again, can't say this enough. I love Chase Claypool. Stop dancing, dum-dum. It's go time. Let's go.
Situational awareness. Chase Claypool had it. You could try to deny that all you want to, but the tape shows the facts.
I could not have read Foreman myself any better if I'd tried.
That was hilarious. I'm so glad you did that.
I didn't actually mean to do that. It's been a morning. All right, these drafts require a lot from the graphic standpoint, and I think you're gonna like what we have for you.
Patrick Holt says in the comments, thoughts on the NCAA banning the fake quarterback slides after Pickett did it in the ACC championship game?
You had to know that was coming.
Good for you. You absolutely
had to know
should.
that was coming.
That's exactly what the NCAA should have done. You cannot allow a quarterback to do that because everybody on the defense is supposed to back up, and if the defense is doing what they're supposed to do when the quarterback surrenders, you can't give him the opportunity to fake that. So if the quarterback makes a move like he's going to surrender, play's dead.
Yeah, here's the thing. This is much like a child. All right, when you give a child a cookie and they look at you, and you go, "Can I have another one?" Turn my damn board on. Can I have another cookie?
Put the bunny back in the box.
That lives on this board forever, by the way.
Nice.
And if I ever find Jodie Foster, that looks like town. That'll be on that board forever, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you had to do that. I mean, it's one thing to protect quarterbacks. It's another when they go, but can I do this, too?
Mm-hmm. Can't give them, when they try to take an inch or they're going to take a mile, that kind of thing, you can't do that. You can't allow that to stand. So I think this is one area where I am on the side of the NCAA.
Well, here's the thing. I already talked to a coach in D1 college football, and I asked, what would have been your response? Dust him. After he did it the first time, I don't give a shit. I'll take the 15-yard penalty. You knock his brains out.
And you're going to get thrown out of the game.
I mean, you ain't got to target him, but you absolutely. And your argument, he already did it once.
Yeah. There's no way around that, though. There's no way around that as if you're going to dust him when he tries to slide, you're going to get thrown out of the game. They're going to call a targeting penalty on you.
Don't believe. Not after that, they won't. Not after that, they won't. You get one free one after that cute little, oh, my God, slide, go, here I
go, pew. You're in a no-lose situation as far as the as far as that goes.
HWA,
the defense is always going to be behind the 8 ball.
HWA said in the comments, give them an inch, they take a mile. That's a lot better than, my 20s where I gave them an inch and they took half my shit.
Oh, that's one of your better ones.
I'm so glad I made HWA. It makes life so much better when you have somebody that genuinely just.
Nope. Yep. Before we get into the 3-round mock draft, we have to say this. Rest in peace, Demaryius Thomas.
Same age I am.
Yeah.
Like that's really.
Did that hit you?
And it's weird how things like that work. He and I were on the same timeline. Like graduated from high school the same time. Blah 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 blah. And you just look at it and go, "Good Lord, that's awful." If
you have not heard the story, Demaryius Thomas was found dead in his house in Roswell, Georgia, yesterday. The assumption is, and his family says, that he has been suffering seizures for a while, and they think he had a seizure while he was in the shower, and he was found dead, age of 33. Demaryius Thomas was one of those guys that you had. I mean, you just, even if you weren't a fan, like if you weren't a Georgia Tech fan or you weren't a Denver Broncos fan or even your New York Jets. I think he played for your Jets for a year or two.
He did.
At one time. You had to love the story of Demaryius Thomas. From the background that he came from and the story about his mom being in prison and all of that, it was just. And he was such a great guy in the community, too. Like, loved doing all of the charitable things for children.
Oh, he
and
was
it's
a great
sad
guy.
to see a dude go out that way.
The people I know in the Jets organization have told me that you could not ask for a nicer human.
Yeah.
He was fantastic when he was with the Jets. Kelvin Joyner asked if it was CTE related. It looks like he had a seizure.
Mm-hmm. And it could be. It could be CTE related. We just don't know. I mean, they're going to have to do research to figure it out. I mean, the only way they can verify that is to do the autopsy and take his brain out and cut it apart. And he may have that deal set up where he will do that. He had 2 concussions in his football career. One of them was in college and one of them was in the NFL. So this isn't like, this isn't like Luke Kuechly, who had 7 concussions and was just over and over having problems with concussions. Maybe it is related. We don't know.
Some of the family members had said he had been having seizure issues recently.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very sad.
It is.
Tremendous human, gone way too soon. Very sad. Right before the holidays, too.
Yep.
I mean, his 34th birthday would have been Christmas Day.
Yeah.
So just very, very sad.
It is absolutely sad, and we had another death in the sports world as well. It was announced this morning or written this morning that Al Unser Sr., 4-time winner of the Indy 500, passed away at the age of 82 as well. So if you're one of those that believes in celebrity deaths come in threes, prepare yourself for more bad news. Anyhow, rest in peace to Demaryius Thomas. He's a great football player. Even better human, gone way, way too soon at the age of 33. All right, Jeremy has toiled over the 3-round mock draft, the first of the season. This will probably be the first of 17 that we do before April. And we are going to go team by team here in the AFC.
Yeah,
Again, we will have the NFC coming up for you tomorrow.
You know why I've toiled over this? To do a 3-round mock draft in the second week in December? Because
You are one pathetic loser.
Just a big old dork, folks.
It's my lot in life, and it's fine. See, for me, the way the draft schedule works, as soon as Thanksgiving happens, I start going, okay, it's draft time.
Yeah.
Because I watch the conference championship games. There's nothing else that matters to me. The bowl games have become borderline irrelevant outside of the playoff. There's 4 teams still playing.
Yep.
The Georgia guys, I've watched so much tape on that Jesus Christ. I probably could tell you I could probably tell you what their favorite meal is at this point. So there's not a whole lot that I'm going to glean from the college football playoff. Mm-hmm. The other bowls, you see a lot of these guys drop out and they don't play. So a lot of my evaluations are done. That's the reason we're putting out a mock draft now.
By the way, minus 7,000 for Gray Ford in the comments. You shut your mouth. You don't put that on Betty White.
Oh,
we ain't rooting for celebrity deaths here, and that's definitely one that does not need to happen.
Well, here's the thing. Betty White's going to outlive me.
That's what I was going to say. I want her to outlive all of us.
Betty White's old enough to be my great-grandmother, and I feel like if you were a betting man, you could bet on me to go out first. And it would be the smart play.
Right. Anyhow, so we are going to do these by
Rob
order.
Johnson plus 9,000. I'm not going to repeat that out loud, but I just saw your comment. 5s. Okay. 5s. Distance, 5s.
You're going to hell. You're going to hell for that one.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's
You're
fine.
going to say it about anybody.
We'll all see you there.
It's all right. If it's not Nancy Grace, that's probably the next best one.
God, we need to stop this. We are going to do all of these by order of appearance.
Oh, hold on.
In the draft.
We have our first super chat of the day.
Excellent.
For those of you that don't know,
I'm here for the gangbang.
Well, that has nothing to do with this. I just wanted to say that. The super chat, you put those out there, and we'll give you one of these.
I'm your huckleberry.
And we will read your chat. Armchair Commentary said, I don't have anything clever to say, but I haven't heard a Roll Tide lately, so this one's for Tank. This is becoming
Is
my
this getting
jam
old
slowly.
for you?
No, it's not. No, it's not getting old for me. And it's probably not going to get old for a while.
Oh, God.
See, because here's the thing. I've listened to Fire Those Cannons, by golly. I've listened to that so long that now I finally have a button that can just make you go. And I like that.
I'm glad that you're thrilled by my pain.
All right, so the way that this mock draft works, we're going team by team, AFC, as he said, in order of appearance.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do 2 or 3 minutes per team. I'll give you my favorite pick, why I like it so much, and then the risky pick for each team. I'm not going to lie to you. There is probably not a team that you're going to go, well, there sucks, because I sent this to Tank and he went, Jesus Christ, I think everybody got an A.
Yeah. Everybody's draft is very, very good. Jeremy is pretty good at this fictional GM thing.
Here's the thing. All you got to do is give me a chance, baby. That's all you got to do. Bring in the Gigi Scout, baby.
Yeah. Let's kick it off here with the team that currently has the number 2 pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars. What do the Jaguars need? Well, I feel like putting a terrifying pass rusher on the other side of their other terrifying pass rusher, that starts to check off some boxes.
And here's the thing. Kayvon Thibodeau does not go at 1 in my mock draft, and I'm going to level with you. The number 1 pick is owned by an NFC team, so you won't see who it is until tomorrow. It's not a quarterback either. There are a series of people that do not think Kayvon Thibodeau is the best edge rusher in this draft because there is a possibility that he's going to be situational. I think he's Khalil Mack almost instantaneously from a pass rushing standpoint. Now, that being said, I don't necessarily think he's going to be an immediate 3-down guy. He's an impact guy from a pass rush standpoint. You put him on the other end of Josh Allen. They're both hybrid, multiple pass rushers, and they probably get the best out of each other. And now you have a pass rush for 10 years. So that's just, that's the beauty of Kayvon Thibodeau. With their second-round pick, they take Nicholas Petit-Ferrer. I'm going to level with you. He would have been a mid-first-round pick before he met Aiden Hutchinson. Mm-hmm. As soon as he met Aiden Hutchinson, every person that does what I do goes, oh, my Jesus, that is the most god-awful game I've ever seen anybody have. That's probably the worst game I've ever seen an offensive lineman have. He had 5 penalties against Aiden Hutchinson.
That's
it's
crazy.
4 or 5. I can't remember which one.
Dude was shook.
Holds, false starts, all kinds of shit. But at the end of the day, this is not a great offensive line draft. Jacksonville needs one, no doubt. Mm-hmm. There is no doubt in my mind they are going to have to walk away from this draft with an offensive lineman that can play tackle. Petit-Ferrer can do that. I think he would start on the right side. And whether that means you would bring back Cam Robinson, whatever that means, I don't know. I think he starts on the right side. He makes up for the gross mistake that was Jawan Taylor. Let me teach you a little thing about drafting NFL teams. If you see a player falling like a rock, there's a reason.
Yeah. The other picks for the Jacksonville Jaguars in the 3rd round, they got 2 in the top 12 of the 3rd round. Philodendron Mathis from Alabama.
Did you just call him Rhododendron Mathis?
Philodendron. It's different. It's another plant.
It's Feldarian Mathis.
Feldarian Mathis, the defensive tackle from Alabama, and then Damone Clark, the linebacker out of LSU.
Mathis is going to be a big run stuffer in this league. He moves very well for a guy that's that big. Damone Clark, I believe, comes in and is immediately a 3-down linebacker. He's a guy I like a lot. The problem is that there are a shitload of linebackers in this draft. I think I had 9 go in the first 3 rounds that are off-ball, lower-paid, non-pass rusher linebackers, which is an insane amount. Those are usually day 3 guys, but Damone Clark is a guy that I'm very fond of. I think he has a long career in this league. And for me, that would be home run for the Jaguars. You've done exactly what you needed to.
I would agree with that. Before we move on to the next team, hit that cash button.
Oh, wait. Oh, shit. Sorry.
There you go. Another super chat from Colin. Good morning, Jeremy and Tank. Good morning, Colin.
We love you people so much.
What is this? Oh, somebody sent us a heart.
It's a heart.
Generation sent us a heart.
And we love all these
and
things.
We heart you, too.
We really do. We don't like many people. And we have learned that the people we like most are the ones that we can talk to through a YouTube chat. People are talking about boycotting Subway. Let me ask you a question. Why the fuck do people still eat at that place? And look, I personally don't care, because there are about 19 other sub shops, and I feel like if one of them wanted to sponsor us, Jersey Mike's A+, Firehouse A+. Subway is like, let me see if I can come up with a comparison here. It's like a condo community, and there are all these beautiful condos, and they show you all of them, and they're all the same price, and you go, Nope, I want the one where the meth addicts left needles in and all that shit just because I like a fixer-upper.
Right.
I swear to you, there are times that I drive past Subway and I see cars in that parking lot and I go, where did the sandwich hurt you? Like, why do you like bad sandwiches? Because there's so many good ones, like Which, Firehouse, Jersey Mike's, McAllister's. There are a million great sub places. How does that work? Like, how do you do that in your brain? You go, hey, I want a sandwich today. You want a good one? Mm-mm. Nope, I want bread and fictitious cheese and meat that was slaughtered well beyond last Tuesday.
You know where you can get a better sandwich than Subway?
Gas station.
Ingles Deli.
That's
go to Ingles.
absolutely true.
Low prices, love the savings. They got the boar's head meat.
Jimmy John's,
Love
hell, I
their
forgot about
sandwiches.
Jimmy John's, and they'll show up on a bicycle 4 minutes after you hit send. I think those people are in cahoots with the birds. You hit okay, and you have a sandwich in your hand in like 47 seconds.
It's very nice. Something to be said for speed.
You know, and this is going to be a weird
That's not
comparison.
what she said, by the way.
This is going to be a weird comparison, and I think it, without a doubt, takes Subway off the list of potential sponsors that we have to call.
Okay.
I look at Subway much like I look at people doing crimes. You know how that's going to end. Like, you sit there and go, hey, I'm going to break into a Target. Okay, you're probably going to do some time in jail. You look at yourself and go, I'm going to eat at Subway. Cool. I'm going to be disappointed from hell.
I've never understood it either.
I just don't get it.
No.
Like, what do they do gooder than anybody else?
Their meatball subs are pretty
If you
good.
want to buy drugs from one of the employees, A1. You want a happiness on a bun? No.
Meatball subs are pretty good.
I mean, by comparison to what?
I mean, it's the best thing that you can get at Subway.
It would be okay, but and that's the thing. It would be the worst thing you could get anybody anywhere else.
I was gonna say.
I mean, Jesus. It's like the Goodwill of sandwiches.
Oh, let me try one of these Jeremy Greene things.
Oh, this will be fun.
Getting the best thing at Subway is like getting the stripper with the least amount of scars down on the river.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Thank you.
That's not bad. That actually, you know what? That plays. I'm okay with that.
All right, second order of appearance in the 2022 NFL Draft. It's the Houston Texans. All the Deshaun Watson stuff, obviously this is going to change. The amount of draft picks that they have in this draft, I feel pretty certain is going to change. But for right now, they would have the number 3 pick in the draft. And they will use it on their future franchise quarterback, or at least who they hope will be their future franchise quarterback. I have heard many analysts say there is not one of those in this draft. Are they correct?
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Depends on how bad you need a quarterback. If you need one that can come in and play right away, like the Houston Texans, then Kenny Pickett's your guy.
Yep.
His ceiling is markedly lower than the average top 5 quarterback.
Mac Jones or Kenny Pickett?
Kenny Pickett by a nose.
Really? Is that close?
It's real close.
I think the arm talent's way better with Kenny.
It is. The brain is way better on Mac Jones.
Okay.
Mac Jones is going to be the guy you can put a great team around. He's never going to be a $30 million quarterback. My fear with Kenny Pickett is that he could go to a team like the Texans, light it up from a statistical standpoint, and not necessarily be a franchise quarterback. Kirk Cousins is my Kenny Pickett comp. His good is going to be real good. The problem is, I don't know how often you're going to see that. I like the kid. There is a marked difference in my grade from him right now to what it was a year ago. I've already mentioned the age thing. It always makes me nervous when a guy comes in and he's way better when he's a year plus older than everybody on the field. That makes me nervous. That being said, he's the one quarterback I can tell you right now can come in and start week 1 of next year.
Yep,
and that's what the Texans need.
And it would not be bad to hook him up with that wide receiver in the second round. Jahan Dotson out of Penn State.
Jahan Dotson is a guy that I can't believe he fell into the second round. Problem is there are a slew of receivers in this draft. Dotson's not got the greatest size. I think pairing him, this is a Brandon Cooks replacement because I fully believe that Brandon Cooks is not going to be back in Houston. Now, how that works, I don't know. Brandon Cooks has been a headache and never really been long for anywhere. Jahan Dotson can be a one in this league. Can he be a Tyreek Hill? No. But I think he can be a guy that plays predominantly out of the slot, and he's still the guy. You have to put pieces around him, but that's a good start for Kenny Pickett. You give him something, you give him a deep threat, a high-end, no doubt one. And you get him in the beginning of the second round.
They also have 2 picks in the top of the 3rd round and the 2 in the top 10. Isaiah Likely, tight end from Coastal.
Isaiah Likely is a guy that the high end is really, really good. I don't know that he's ever going to be a great blocker in the league. I don't know that he's ever going to be a 3-down tight end. Here's what he can be. He can be a guy that can line up in line. He can line up in the slot. He can do all kinds of things. And he's going to be a great receiver. I just don't know. The reason that I've got him this is a good tight end draft, in my opinion. There are 2 that I love that we'll get to before the end of this show because they both go to AFC teams.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Isaiah Likely's the next one down. You're looking for a comp, I would say somebody in the Mark Andrews tier. In the right system, he can be that good. My fear is that he goes somewhere like Houston, that he's going to have to play 3 downs, and he's forever going to be a liability as a blocker. And I know he's got some good blocking tape. Look what happens when he plays against better competition. Coastal Carolina, you don't play the greatest schedule.
Mm-hmm.
When he plays higher end competition, the BYU tape was receiving, great. Blocking, not so much.
Their last pick in the 3rd round, Majai Sanders, the edge rusher out of Cincinnati.
The fear with him is that, he's got some good tape. There are some things to like about Sanders. The problem is that he's on a defense that's 10 times more talented than damn near everybody they play. He is one of the few players that I want to see play in the playoff because I want to see what he looks like against Evan Neal. He's a guy that could end up, I think, as high as the beginning of the 2nd round. He could also drop to the 3rd day. If Evan Neal just dominates him, that's going to be the tape that every team uses against him.
We all know it's going to be a major rebuild for the Houston Texans. Still the Deshaun Watson stuff to figure out. Like I said, they're probably going to have many more picks than this because of the Deshaun Watson deal, whatever gets made. But this is what we've got for now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and that's the thing with Houston is that there's a lot of malleability in what they do. Mm-hmm. They can take the best player available. They didn't draft a player until the 3rd round last year, and this is the worst team in the NFL. At this point, you're in the talent accumulation stage of the world. You need to draft the best player on the board at any given time, and that's what they did in this.
Picking at 4th and 5th in the 1st round of the NFL draft in 2022, it is Jeremy's. Go ahead and do it.
Jets, Jets.
Well, there you go. We got to tighten that up for next time.
I didn't know what you were asking for there, to be honest.
The 4th and the 5th picks belong to the New York Jets.
Wait, say that again?
The 4th and 5th picks belong to the New York Jets.
Let the hate flow through you.
And you guys are going to go, according to your plan here, heavy on the secondary, which you absolutely should.
Well, you got to go heavy on defense. Mm-hmm. This defense is historically bad. I feel like the Jets have a lot to be encouraged by with the offense. Zach Wilson, he seems to be getting better. You have definitively hit on Elijah Moore because he is a dog, very much like I told you when they drafted him last year. He is, if it wasn't for Jamar Chase, he would be the best receiver that came out of this last draft. He's that good.
Mm-hmm.
Corey Davis. You have a lot of things on the offense that I think you should be encouraged by. Bryce Hall, I like a lot playing corner. I like him better as a 2. You take Derek Stingley Jr., Derek Stingley becomes immediately the number 1 corner on this team. He's one of the highest graded corners I've ever graded. Good size. He can do damn near anything. You're coming off a little bit of an injury that ended the season. Do I think he possibly could have come back? Yeah, I do. But you were being coached by Go Tigers. So, it's not like he had to rush back. As soon as he got hurt, he went, okay, we're on the draft stuff now.
Yep. And then you pair him in the secondary with Kyle Hamilton, the safety out of Notre Dame, and that Seattle trade looks way better now.
Yeah, because he's a better safety than Jamal Adams is right now.
Yeah, you get him, and then you had Vera Tucker was the one you took with Seattle's pick last year.
I don't genuinely say this very often. I believe Kyle Hamilton has Sean Taylor upside. He's that good.
That's impressive.
There's no flaw in his game. He's also 6'4" and can fly. The Florida State tape, probably the best tape I've seen from a college safety in the last 15 years. Mm-hmm. Rangy, he can play single high. This is a guy that I genuinely look at and go, you can be a difference maker. And Jason Trump in the comments said drafting corners, is this not high? For Derek Stingley, no. Because Derek Stingley could be the second best corner in Jets history to Darrelle Revis.
Yeah, he is a generational type of player.
And this is a draft where you've got, I think, 6 franchise players at the top end. Well, they miss on both of the edge rushers. I don't really think they need an edge rusher.
You get Carl
Lawson back. You've already got John Franklin Myers. I mean, a linebacker would be nice, but it didn't, work out that way.
2 picks in the top 10 of the second round as well. You got him taking Jermaine Johnson, of course, of your Florida State Seminoles.
And now that's where the second part of they don't need an edge comes in. Jermaine Johnson can play anything on the line. The thought of having Franklin Myers, Quinnen Williams, Carl Lawson, and Jermaine Johnson all down the line is terrifying. That is pass rush extreme. A lot of people will say, how did Jermaine Johnson fall this far? Because he has to go to a very specific kind of team. We saw him at Georgia that, yes, he can drop. He does have coverage ability. The problem is that he gets lost out in space. It's almost like it's like the can opener on a Swiss Army knife. You're carrying this around because it has a blade on it, and that's what he does really well. He rushes the passer really well, especially from a down position. I don't want to see him stand up in the NFL. If you want to drop him out, things that Salah doesn't do very often, okay. I mean, that's all well and good. But what he really does is rush the passer. And I think he comes in a rotation. He can spell John Franklin Myers. He can do a lot of things that are really conducive. Problem is he has to go to a very specific kind of defense. And a lot of those are picking in the top 15.
Yep.
There's not a lot on the backside, like the Steelers, the Ravens, guys that could use a pass rusher. Well, they're all 3-4 teams. And I think really smart franchises are going to look at him and go, he was an afterthought at Georgia. He was the defensive player of the year at Florida State. Why? Because this is what he does.
Second pick in the second round, Trey McBride, the tight end out of Colorado State.
He's the best tight end in the draft. He is. He's the best all-around tight end in the draft.
Better than Kohler? Better than Weidermeyer?
He's way better than Kohler, but he and Weidermeyer are close. I feel like Weidermeyer probably has a higher upside. Trey McBride's safer. Trey McBride's, without a doubt, a better blocker. He's the best all-around tight end in this draft. You can put him on the end, set the edge. You look at how much the Jets run, he's their George Kittle. That's what Trey McBride can be, and I think he has that kind of upside.
Yeah.
He has an upside that 2 years from now, we could be talking about him in that top 5 fantasy tight end conversation. You don't know who he is because he played at Colorado State. If he'd played at Alabama, he'd be a top 15 pick, and I mean that.
And then with the third round pick, with the number 4 pick in the third round, Alec Lindstrom, the center out of Boston College.
This is a gnarly center draft. There are 3. You have one of the best ones I've ever graded. Then you have Lindstrom, and you have Jared Patterson from Notre Dame, who we'll talk about later in the show. And from there, it falls off the world. So you look at a team like the Jets that can save some money getting rid of Connor McGovern. I feel like they've got Vera Tucker, Mekhi Becton if he's ever healthy. George Fant has been actually pretty good this year. Put him on the right side. You add a guy like Alec Lindstrom, and I think you've pretty well got your line set up for the next 10 years.
And as Patrick Holt said in the comments, all this, and yet the Jets will still suck.
Hey, look, you fuckers can take all the stabs you want when we're playing games. This is my time, okay? This is where wings take dream.
Well, hey, at least Stephen Tao backed you up and said, nah, they got Mike White. It's all good.
The legend of Mike White.
The Denver Broncos show up next in the AFC. There's a whole chunk of NFC teams in between the 5th pick and the 14th pick. The Denver Broncos and number 14 will get a linebacker, and one that I really, really like.
And here's the thing. There are many people like me that really like him, and there are a lot of people that don't.
Mm-hmm.
There is a huge discrepancy in the grade on Nakobe Dean. A lot of people think he's a product of the system, having as many – I mean, there are 3 Georgia linemen that come off the board in these 3 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
There's also another linebacker.
Mm-hmm. And 3 more secondary players, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the most talented defenses you will ever see.
It is, but Nakobe Dean's got such a nose for the ball.
And that's why he lands with Denver, is because Denver needs linebacker help.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think they're playing their 7th and 8th starting linebackers right now. So there's been a lot of turnover there. They have a kid named Justin Sternad that I liked coming out of Wake Forest, but he's not a down in, down out player, and I don't think he ever will be. Nakobe Dean can be that. The bad thing is that he's going to be compared to Micah Parsons because that's top 15 level impact from an off-ball linebacker. I don't think he can be that. He does have the ability to blitz. He gets lost in space sometimes. But I do firmly believe he's going to be a top 20 pick.
Yep.
There are some people that believe he will fall to the beginning of the 3rd round. To me, that is absolutely mind-bogglingly insane.
I did not realize how many picks the Denver Broncos have in the first 3 rounds of the draft, but they got 2 in the 2nd, 2 in the 3rd. You got Daxton Hill, the safety from Michigan, and Zach Harrison, the edge rusher out of Ohio State, going to him in the 2nd round. In the 3rd round, Ed Ingram, the guard from LSU, and Grayson McCall, the quarterback from Coastal Carolina. You think Grayson's got a chance to do something in the NFL?
Well, and that's another thing. Quarterbacks, beauty's in the eye of the beholder after Grayson McCall. You remember that thing I said about centers?
Yeah.
Quarterback's worse.
Falls off a cliff majorly.
There may not be one taken for 3 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I think Denver's going to do something for the immediate future at quarterback. I could see Grayson McCall being we take him in the 3rd round, maybe, 5 years from now, 4 years from now, he can be a back-end starter. He's a good backup to me in the NFL. And I think putting him behind a Russell Wilson, an Aaron Rodgers, somebody that can teach him how to play the game, there's no expectation of him out of the gate. And I think there's a promise to that. Ed Ingram, one of my 10 favorite players in this draft.
Really?
This dude is a bad motherfucker, and that is the nicest way I can say that. The Daxton Hill pick, the Zach Harrison pick, those are depth guys. Zach Harrison's got some upside. I feel like he's been coached poorly at Ohio State. Look, I know that there's a lot of talent on that defense, and it didn't always play to its highest level. This is kind of the reverse Nick Saban theory. I think there's more to get out of this kid. And you put him in Denver, if Fangio's there, whoever the coaching staff is, I think they might be able to get something out of him. Daxton Hill he's pretty scheme specific, but I do kind of like the way he fits next to a Justin Simmons because you can line him up in the slot. Simmons is more of a box guy. It should be more of a box guy. Yeah, he's got good ball skills and things like that, but I think Daxton Hill can be the coverage safety next to Justin Simmons. But Ed Ingram is that dude. That's a name you're going to hear me say, let's go 617,000 times.
The Denver Broncos definitely need to do something at their quarterback position. George Payton will get that done in the offseason, I feel fairly certain.
And I'll tell you, with the Broncos, don't be shocked if they move Drew Lock and actually get something for him. Like day 2 pick for him.
Really?
There are teams that still believe in him.
Like a 4? 5?
Day 2 pick. That's a 2 or a 3.
Oh. Ooh. I don't know about that. Really?
I didn't say I was going to give it to him. No, I'm just saying it's what I'm hearing.
That kind of surprises me.
There are teams out there that still believe in Drew Lock. And I can't emphasize this enough. The quarterback market is barren outside of the top 3.
Yeah. The team that is in transition here. No John Gruden to screw up Mike Mayock's picks. I don't know how that all worked before, but now Mayock has the full keys to the castle, and we'll see what he can do for the Las Vegas Raiders in this draft. They only have 1 pick in each round of the draft. Brandon Smith, the linebacker out of Penn State. I know you really love this guy.
I do. This is the linebacker the Raiders have needed forever because he's a very good coverage guy. He's going to run ignorantly fast. I can't tell you he's going to be Micah Parsons fast, but I think if he's not as fast, he's going to be really damn close.
He claims he's faster.
Okay. It's kind of like saying you got a bigger goober than the guy next to you in the locker room. I mean, you can show it to me if you're really that confident. Not that I want you to. But if you're that confident, then you pull that sumbitch out.
Yep.
No, I've never seen Brandon Smith do that. I think he's going to be in the ballpark. He's a sub 4.45 guy. Good coverage guy, all-around linebacker. That's a 3-down linebacker in the NFL now.
I don't watch a whole lot of South Alabama football. Tell me about Jalen Tolbert, the wide receiver that you got him taking in the second round.
He's an FAF. Fast as fuck.
Okay.
Height, weight, speed guy. Fast as hell. I mean, I'm not going to tell you he's Tyreek Hill fast, but he's pretty damn close. This is the over-the-top guy that they lost with Henry Ruggs. So you replace Henry Ruggs with Jalen Tolbert. They have to have another weapon. And it has been abundantly clear how badly they needed the over-the-top guy to really do everything in this offense that they want to do. And this is a kid, this is another one. If he played at Alabama, you would know his name, and we would be talking about him with the Jameson Williams of this class.
He does play at Alabama, just the South
Yeah,
one.
he plays it, not the Roll Tide one.
And the third round, Zachary Carter, the defensive tackle out of Florida.
I'm always nervous about defensive linemen out of Florida because I can't remember the last one that was actually really good in the league.
I was going to say, show me on the doll where Zuniga hurt you.
Ja'Kai Polite and Jabari Zuniga.
Yeah.
Yeah. They both hurt me because they were both Jets.
Oh, I forgot about Ja'Kai Polite.
Oh, Ja'Kai Polite, famously third-round pick of the Jets, that he didn't even make the damn team. Ugh. Florida linemen always scare me. Zachary Carter, there's potential for him, though. He reminds me of Jonathan Hankins a little bit, who we would be playing beside with the Raiders. Big guy. I don't know that he ever has 3-down potential, but in the third round, drafting in the third round is a lot like shopping at Goodwill. Yeah, you can catch a really good value. I mean, you're not the first one to wear it. You just hope it doesn't smell and it lasts for a few years.
Right. The Cleveland Browns. Next up in the draft order here. They'll pick 16th in the first round and staying inside the state with Chris Olave, the wide receiver from Ohio State. This is a kid that I really like. I just wish he was going to have a quarterback in Cleveland.
Well, and that's the thing with Olave is he's very fast. Very, very, very fast. There is a belief that he looks so good because he's got Garrett Wilson and Jigba on the other side. Mm-hmm. You're never going to get away from that. I don't know that he can be a one in the NFL. There's one definitive one in this draft to me. It's Jameson Williams from Alabama. Olave, I think he can play in the slot to start with. I think he could be a nice complement to Jarvis Landry. And he's a very good route runner. He's more polished of a route runner than people give him credit for. I can't remember. I want to say it was against Minnesota.
Okay.
It was either Minnesota or Iowa or one of those teams that played. It was cold. I remember that much. He had a route that I, to this day, don't know what the fuck that route is. I've been watching tape for 11 solid years. I don't know what that route was. I've never seen it before. And it turned the corner lined up on him in knots. And as soon as I saw that, I went, yeah, he's a top 20 guy. Mm-hmm. And frankly, I think all three of those Ohio State guys are going to be top 20 guys at some point. It's just Olave comes off the board here.
Yep. In the second round, hey, maybe he does get a quarterback after all. Desmond Ridder, the quarterback from Cincinnati, also staying in the state.
And this is a hedge. This is a bit of a hedge to me because I don't think you can just outright move on from Baker Mayfield. But you need somebody that gives this team hope behind him. Mm-hmm. Ridder is a guy that a lot of people believe is a first-round pick. I ain't one of them. I'm not one of them, and I've never been one of them. The tape is inconsistent. He's athletic enough. His arm is good enough. And to me, he's the enough quarterback.
Okay.
There's nothing that he does that I just go, yeah, that's an NFL skill set.
But he's not one that you think another team will fall in love with at the back end of the first round.
Could. The first mock draft is where they would go to me. So I'm not taking into could a team fall in love with him?
Right.
Am I hearing anything? Because you're not getting a lot of that right now.
All right, the third-round pick for the Cleveland Browns, Chasen Hines, guard out of LSU, the other guard out of LSU.
Yeah, if there was no Ed Ingram, I would like Chasen Hines a lot better. But the problem is that I watch Ingram on tape and go, oh, that dude's going to start for 10 years in the league. Hines is a guy that I look at and go, you can sandwich him between J.C. Treader and the name is Jack Conklin. And I think it takes a little bit of the pressure off Conklin in the run game. He's a predominant run guy. He's going to have to get better against in the pass game. The thing about Cleveland, you're a predominant run team. Chasen is one of those guys that I look at and go, you would fit well with Cleveland. You would fit well with the Philadelphia Eagles, the Baltimore Ravens, one of these run-heavy teams.
Yep.
You get into a Kansas City Chiefs and, that was fun while it lasted.
Yeah. If you are just joining us, welcome into the Sportsocracy. We are live in the Wicked Weed studio, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different. Hit that subscribe button so you can get in on the chat. Hit the like button as well. I had forgotten to do that, so I just hit that myself. Just a couple of things from the chat. Armchair commentary, any picks or any trades in this mock draft? No,
I don't do trades until March. Until free agency has happened, I don't know where teams are needy enough to start making moves.
Kelvin Joyner asked, do the Raiders need to start looking for a quarterback? And I think that's a...
No.
I mean, I think it's a fair question. My answer would be no as well. I mean, as much shit as I talk about Derek Carr, he is a franchise quarterback. That might shock some of you to hear come out of my mouth, but yes, Derek Carr is a... You're not going to find one better. You will not find one better at this point unless you're going to be in the running for Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers or whoever. Derek Carr is their guy, should be their guy moving forward. And then Jonathan Welch says, who gets Falele? You got to wait till tomorrow for that one,
yeah,
buddy.
He's an NFC pick.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling you're going to like where he goes.
I saw it last night and I went, that's not fair. That's just not fair.
He's a guy I like. I mean, 6'9", 400
How can
pounds.
you not like him?
Lather, rinse, repeat what I just said. He's 6'9", 400 pounds.
Yeah, but he still moves pretty well for a guy that size.
He moves amazingly well.
He's a basketball player.
Which is weird.
6'9", 400 pounds. Yeah, you got to wait for tomorrow because he will be going to a team in the NFC. And yes, if you are not a fan of one of that team, you're going to be like, why did I have to do that? All right. Next up in the draft order here, 2022 3-round mock draft. The Pittsburgh Steelers pick at 18 in the first round. And I don't know that I like this pick, but Ben Roethlisberger, despite what he showed in the waning minutes of the Thursday night football game this week, where he did look pretty damn good and pretty friggin' accurate.
Well, Ben's going to be gone. So the question is,
gone, yeah.
The question is, what can you do to move on quickly? It's going to require a lot, but this kid's sitting here, and I don't think Pittsburgh's going to let him go by.
Yeah,
it's Matt Corral. Mm-hmm. Is he a Pittsburgh guy? No, not necessarily. He's a Southern California kid. But at the end of the day, I don't care. Because look at the weapons you have. All right, just say you don't bring back Juju Smith-Schuster. You still have Deontay Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
You still have Chase Claypool, who, yes, he dances too much, but he's a damn good receiver. And you have Pat Freiermuth with Najee Harris behind him. Every reservation I have about Matt Corral kind of goes away when you put him around a team like that. You put a team like that around him. And so you get to a point where it's like, okay, this has been all over again. If you remember when Ben got drafted, we knew they were taking a quarterback. They were just going to sit there and take who they wanted. Yes, they had a deal to move up. Didn't come to fruition. Ben fell right in their laps. And that's how I have it happening here.
Mm-hmm. Second round, Darian Kendrick, the cornerback out of Georgia.
He's a bit of a dipshit. The problem with him is that there is a lot of off-the-field bullshit with him. He's already transferred once. The tape is the tape. He's, from a skill point of view, he should be a first-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is that there's tape that you look at and go, do you even give a shit? Like, do you want to just go home? Because you don't seem to care a ton. But when he's on, he's very good. And I think putting him in that Pittsburgh system, a lot of people say, how do you not take a lineman there? Well, there are two things. One, there's not one that deserves to go right there. Mm-hmm. Two, I think you need a corner every bit as bad as you need a lineman. Because the line, it's not great, but it's young. And you've got an investment in that.
Well, and you've got them picking up a lineman in the third round. They've got 2 picks in the third round. Rasheed Walker, the tackle out of Penn State.
A little thin. Not necessarily sure he fits the Pittsburgh mindset, but he's got a lot of upside. He's got a lot of untapped potential, I believe. Very good on his feet. Not a lot of lean with him. There's not a lot of things that he does that you're going to have to break. Mm-hmm. A lot of offensive linemen come in with bad habits.
How's his bend? I haven't heard you say that today.
I'm
sorry. It's just...
we hadn't talked about that many offensive linemen yet.
Right. And then Zay Flowers, wide receiver out of Boston College. How can you not like that kid?
Of course, because that's what Pittsburgh does.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh uses third-round picks and drafts guys that will make you hate your life for the next 10 years, and Zay Flowers is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Very fast.
And he can slot in and be that Juju replacement.
Very much so, because he can play in the slot. Mm-hmm. And so you got Deontay Johnson that can play in the slot or on the outside. You got Claypool that's an outside guy, and then you put this kid in the slot. To me, he's actually more of a James Washington replacement because he is a deep threat that plays out of the slot.
Yeah.
He just strikes me as very Pittsburgh Steelery. Same thing I said about Deontay Johnson many years ago. Well, it feels like many. It wasn't actually that long ago, but it feels like forever.
Yeah. The Miami Dolphins have the 19th overall pick in the draft, and I think this is one of my favorite picks of the first round. Tyler Linderbaum, the center from Iowa, going to the Miami Dolphins to solidify that offensive line, and then in the second round, giving them Breece Hall. They need a running back bad.
Well, it's 2 of your biggest needs, and you take care of them in short order. Yeah. You get the best center in this draft by a lot. Tyler Linderbaum he's the best center I've ever graded. He's an all-around guy. I mean, there's really not a knock on him. And here's one of my things with the Dolphins. The Dolphins line is so talented that it shouldn't be this bad. So you have to get into why is it this bad. And my belief is if you've got somebody that can call the signals and get everything right, because I've always had that knock on Tua. He never had to do those things at Alabama. Now, this is a guy that he can do every line call, everything. Mm-hmm. He can put everything in motion. I think that would tie that line together, and it would be a strength instead of a weakness.
12-year Pro Bowler.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Nick Mangold.
Yep.
Yeah, you remember Nick Mangold with the Jets? That's what his career is going to look like, in my opinion.
And then in the third round with the 35th pick in the third round,
you skipped over Breece Hall.
Oh, well, yeah, I did.
You said it, but I didn't say anything about
it. I'm sorry.
Go
ahead.
He's my number 1 running back in this draft class.
Number 1.
Yeah,
okay.
He's the only one I think can come in and be a 3-down guy immediately. I know it wasn't overly impressive this year, but there were things with Brock Purdy. He was not as impressive as you would want him to be. Charlie Kohler was not open as often as you would want him to be. I still look at Breece Hall and go, you are dangerous with the ball in your hands. Kind of reminds me of Aaron Jones, who I last year wanted the Dolphins to sign when he was a free agent, but Green Bay beat them to the punch.
Hands is good?
I think they can be. I do. I think he can be a full, true, honest-to-God 3-down running back. The last one I said about that, the last running back that I said that about, that I knew was not going to go in the first round was Dalvin Cook.
That worked out well.
Yeah, I think that went
worked out pretty well. And then in the third round, a Caleb Evans, cornerback from Mizzou.
He's very raw. But the good thing is that you've got Xavier Howard and Byron Jones. So you can give him all the time in the world. What is it? Igbignogany?
Yep.
I said that name wrong for an entire draft season, so I have to defer to him because he looked it up out of the draft pronunciation guide.
Yep.
I think he can be what, in time, you wanted Noah Igbignogany out of Auburn to be. I mean, it's not a guy that's going to come in and play immediately. But if you're really honest about the Dolphins, they don't have a ton of holes.
No.
They have a ton of young guys. Like a ton of young guys.
And now with Tua no longer being in bust category, you believe that, right? We all believe that he has climbed out of bust category?
Yeah, I think some people are putting that cart before the horse, but
signs are good.
Things are getting better.
Yeah.
I will go with it's getting better. I can't. Once I start calling you that, it's kind of hard for me to go, yeah. It took me 2 years on Ryan Tannehill, so I don't move off that lightly.
Right.
But it's definitely trending in the right direction.
Let's talk about those little kitty cats from Ohio, the Cincinnati Bengals. It's a team that we have ripped apart, or did in the last offseason. And now, I mean, they shut us up.
Who wants to take a guess of what position they draft? Anybody?
I'm going to go with offensive lineman. Yay!
And it's one of my favorites.
Oh, Trevor Penning from Northern Iowa. This is what kid that I have watched tape on, and he is a man-child.
He's a house. They actually should have to put an address on his ass because he is a gigantic human. Another one that if he played at a bigger school, you would know way more about him. And I need you to understand that there was a time where, and I can't remember the kid's first name, his last name's Spencer Brown. I do remember it. I had to think about it for a second. That was the two bookends at Northern Iowa. Spencer Brown's the smaller of the two. I think he's 6'7", 320. Mm-hmm. He is a mountain. And Trevor Penning's is bigger. This guy can be a left tackle for a lot of years in this league.
Second round, Nick Bonito, edge rusher from Oklahoma.
The thing that strikes me about Bonito is he's not a linebacker per se. He can be. He can play that. Mm-hmm. He reminds me of a small version of Trey Hendrickson.
I could see
he's
that.
A little slighter than Trey Hendrickson. Mm-hmm. I think he can play with his hand in the dirt. I think he can stand up. He needs to be coached. Above all else, he needs to be coached. I like Alex Grinch. I do. But the Big 12 ain't the NFL. So he's got natural pass rush ability, which is, definitely something to be. There's something to take away from that. If you want to play him at linebacker, I think you can. I think he can play as an off-ball linebacker. Mm-hmm. I also think he can put his hand in the dirt and be a. I'm trying to think of an example of this guy, and one's not coming to me. The undersized pass rusher. That the skill set's just dumb. But he didn't get the blessings from Jehovah himself.
And then in the third round, out of the University of North Carolina, the cornerback, Storm Duck.
Mel Kiper likes Storm Duck better than I do. Mm-hmm. He has him in the top 4 of corners, and I think that's stupid.
That's a little much.
He's in my top 10. There's a lot of talent there. You didn't see a lot of it because nobody threw at him. Because there was Storm Duck and then there's Tony Grimes, who I keep getting told how good he is. Mm-hmm. And I think he's very talented.
He's only a sophomore, though.
I'm well aware of that. Yeah. But he has not acclimated the way you would have hoped.
No.
And he's fine. There are some burst plays. There's also some burn plays. But Storm Duck's just to me, he's a number 2 corner in this league for a long time. Is he ever going to make a Pro Bowl? No. Nah. Is he ever going to be a Civ? No.
Probably not.
You know what he reminds me of? Cameron Dantzler. Played at Mississippi State, plays for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, that's not a bad comparison.
That's just kind of who he reminds me of. Plus, he has a great name,
Storm Duck.
Patrick Holt said, "Did his parents dislike him?" I don't think so, but his name is very odd.
What would you have rather them named him? Dead?
Daffy. They should have named him Daffy.
Daffy Duck. No, I'm going to go with Storm was better.
Storm is better.
Storm is better than Daffy.
Or Donald. Or Braised.
Braised.
Or Orange.
Okay. That's enough of the duck references.
I've never had duck.
Huh?
I've never had duck. It's always been weird to me. I don't do birds. I don't like birds. Okay.
You love chicken. You love turkey. Why have you not had the turducken yet?
Those are not birds. Chicken and turkey were put on this earth to fool you that everything with feathers was really a bird. I swear.
Why are turkeys not birds?
I swear
turkeys
to God.
Fly. You know that, right?
I thought turkeys could fly.
They can. I mean, they don't fly great distances like other birds, but they can fly.
Yeah, you know what I learned from WKRP in Cincinnati? If you throw them out of an
they
airplane,
don't fly like
they don't fly.
No, they don't fly. They glide. They do the Buzz Lightyear. They fall with style. I had never seen it. One time I lived up on top of a hill, and there was a turkey on this side of the hill. Leicester Highway goes in between, and there's a big hill on the other side. Saw one just glide right over the traffic one day, and I went, that makes me kind of scared of turkeys. That's a large projectile that I didn't think could do that.
My wife said I have had duck, and I hated it. I don't remember that.
Huh.
I know that with lamb, because lamb smells like a corpse, and it's gross.
I love lamb.
It's because you're weird.
I love lamb.
I love lamb.
Kudos. Let's talk about the Bolts. The Los Angeles Chargers have the 22nd pick as it sits right now in the NFL draft in 2022. We're doing the 3-round mock draft, Jeremy Greene style here. The Los Angeles Chargers have one big deficiency on their defense. They cannot stop anybody running the ball, and their first-round pick will absolutely help toward that goal. Jordan Davis, the man among all men's in men's. You like how I said that? In college football. Jordan Davis, the defensive tackle out of Georgia.
Problem is he's not a 3-down player. He's Grady Jarrett. I mean, I'll tell you exactly what he is. He already plays in the league. He's a 2-down run-stuffing defensive tackle. And there's no team in the NFL that I love him to more than the Los Angeles Chargers. You put him in the middle of that defense with all of the talent they have there, it can work. And it could be really, really good. But you just have to know you're not going to get much from him as a pass rusher. That's the reason he didn't win the Heisman. The reason that was never even a legitimate thought.
Right.
Yeah, he's a tackle for loss monster. I think he had 2 quarterback pressures all year long.
It's not what he does.
No, he's a space eater.
Exactly.
He's Vita Vea with a little bit less lean of a frame.
Bingo. Less of a pass rush. Vita does do that.
He can. He's great. I mean, he's great.
But if Jordan Davis had 7 sacks this year instead of 2,
he'd been top 5 pick.
He absolutely would have been in. And you're right. And
he got somewhat exposed against Alabama because I do think teams in the league will do that.
And
keep him on the field.
And he would have been invited to the Heisman ceremony.
Yeah,
I fully believe that.
I disagree with you.
You don't think if he'd had 7 sacks this year and all those other stats that he had, he wouldn't have been invited with Aiden Hutchinson?
I thought you meant if he hadn't been unveiled against Alabama.
He did tire out quite a bit in that game.
Well, I mean, that's how you beat him. The way you deal with how impactful he can be is you just don't let him get off the field.
Christian Harris, the linebacker from Alabama, 2nd-round pick for the Los Angeles Chargers.
I think he fits nice next to Kenneth Murray. Christian Harris is just one of those guys that there's nothing about him that I look at and go, God, you're the best in this draft at blank. But you're not really deficient at anything. You're not a liability in anything. But again, I have to say this because he plays for Nick Saban. I don't know how much better he's going to get, but I think he can play in the league right now.
And then in the 3rd round, you got the Chargers taking Bernard Raymond.
That's the Brian Bulaga replacement. Bulaga lives hurt. More so than any player we ever talk about. Bernard Raymond probably needs a year. Lower level of competition. There are some scouts that love him and think he ends up in the back end of the 1st round. I am not one of those. There's a lot of raw skill, but I feel like if you took him that high, you're asking him to do too much too early. This is a guy that needs to go about right here. Come in, play right tackle. Could he ultimately be a left tackle? Maybe. I think I like him better on the right side, long term.
Yep.
But you bring him in now when Bulaga invariably gets hurt, and he will. Slide him in there, and away you go.
The Buffalo Bills. Nobody circles the wagons.
Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
I do that every time because he loves doing that.
I do.
So much. They picked 23rd in the draft as the order sits right now, and their 1st-round draft pick, cornerback out of Washington, Trent McDuffie.
A lot of other people like him way better than I do. I mean, there are people that think he's a top 15 pick, and I think those people are stupid. But I do think he can go in and immediately be a 2, play on the other side of Tre'Davious White, and if he got put into, hey, buddy, you gotta be the one now, I think he could do it admirably. Washington was so bad this year that it's kind of hard for me to get a read on a lot of their players. Just like Jackson Kirkland. Kirkland doesn't go in the first 3 rounds of my mock draft. It's a guy I had in the top 15 before the year, and a lot of other people did too. And I can't figure how much of it was regression and how much of it was just how bad this team was. So I have him as a beginning of the second round guy. The industry has him middle of the first to about right here. So I split the difference. He would fit nicely in Buffalo. If
you're a fan of this show and have watched for a while, you will know that I love the second round pick for the Buffalo Bills here if it falls this way. Kenneth Walker III.
Well, it's hard not to like. What's not to like? He's a 3-down back in the NFL. I don't think he'll ever be a great pass catcher. But you already got one of those. You got Devin Singletary, and Zach Moss isn't bad at it either. This is the guy between the tackles. This is him paired with Josh Allen, the inside of that line, or the interior of that line, and now you got something. I am not as in love with Kenneth Walker as you are, but I would be in love with him if he went to the Buffalo Bills.
I feel like Buffalo whiffed on the last 2 running backs that they took. Singletary, he never lived up to the hype, and neither did Zach Moss.
Well, they were both mid-round guys that you didn't put a lot of. Devin Singletary was always meant to be a complementary piece.
Okay, maybe I said that wrong. These are both guys that I believed in. And here's another one. This puts me in the same position of I believe in this kid. I think he could be a good NFL back. But is it Buffalo? Is Buffalo the problem, or is it the backs that they've been drafting?
The system doesn't help. I don't think Brian Daboll is going to be there next year. I firmly believe he's probably going to get a head coaching job somewhere.
You're probably right.
I think being in a place like Buffalo, it's a very high flying team that's built like a team that should love a kid like Kenneth Walker. I would love him there. And there's not a ton of places that I would love him. Like, I wouldn't love him with the Miami Dolphins. I love Breece Hall with the Miami Dolphins because they don't have anybody. I mean, Myles Gaskin. But I look at Buffalo and go, this kid's not going to have to take on a 16, 18, 20 carry a game workload to begin with.
And a third round, you got him taking another kid that I like out of Georgia, defensive tackle Devontae Wyatt. Had there been no Jordan Davis, this guy would be seen as the centerpiece of this defense. I feel fairly confident in saying
he's hyper talented. The problem for him is that he's probably the least talented of all the 8 Georgia defensive players that will go in this. That's not a slight. He's just the nameless, faceless member of this defense. I firmly believe if he played at another school, let's say he played at Clemson, he'd have been a top of the second, very back into the first round. But I feel that way about several of these Georgia players. There will be some teams that ding him because he's on a defense that's so damn good.
Right.
And then there will be some that go, yeah, you got to be pretty good to start on that team.
Yeah, that's also a double-edged sword because I'm going to bring up another name that we've already talked about, Jermaine Johnson. Yeah. Jermaine Johnson goes to Florida State and becomes All-ACC Defensive Player of the Year. He couldn't get on the field at Georgia. Now, Devontae Wyatt, I think, is the same kind of guy. He was still first team All-SEC. So
I think he would have been a very impactful player, more of a name somewhere else. The tape's very good. You just have to know, there was a lot of talent around him.
Yeah, so there was a lot of attention on Jordan Davis. So did some of that extra attention going to Jordan Davis, did that make Devontae look a little bit better? I don't believe that's true, but there is, the critics can say that. The Kansas City Chiefs, at number 26, you have them taking Treylon Burks, the wide receiver out of Arkansas.
Yeah,
and why do they do this?
This is one of those that's just going to piss you off.
Of course. You look at that offense and go, wow, well, this is the second guy to Tyreek Hill.
This is a guy that can come back and do what it was that Sammy Watkins did before he left for Baltimore. He's a much bigger version. He's a much better blocker. He's a much better all-around player. He's just a gigantic receiver with good hands, best high-point receiver in this draft. I love this kid, and I think he would be a hammer in Kansas City.
I agree.
And would take away some of the I feel like every time Kansas City gets inside the 8-yard line, you just start staring at Travis Kelce like, how the fuck are they about to get you the ball? Treylon Burks, he would take that away because he's 6'4".
Then in the second round, you've got him taking Isaiah Spiller, the running back out of Texas A&M. Now, no disrespect to Isaiah Spiller. He's a very good back. My question to you has to be, don't you think they need to invest some more in the defense?
I do. The defense has been the defense for 3 years now. So what is it? All right. To me, this saves a first-round pick you boo-boo kiddied 2 years ago.
Okay.
Because this gives you a second piece to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It opens up the offense more. This is a team that's just going to outscore you.
Mm-hmm.
And they're never going to be good defensively. You can piss down that well all you want to. Corners, to me, you've already got 2 starters. Who are you going to unseat? L'Jarius Sneed? No. Tyrann Mathieu is obviously an integral part of this defense.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Bolton's a kid I like. I mean, you can keep pissing in the wind all you want to, or you can keep stacking up what it is that makes you so damn terrifying.
All right, that's a hell of an explanation. And accepted. Jacoby McClain, linebacker from Auburn, their third-round pick.
Now, with everything I just said, there are guys that can come in and make an immediate impact. But that is a guy that can come in and make an immediate impact. He's not great in coverage, which is very similar to what I said last year about Nick Bolton. He'll also knock your brain clear out of the back of your skull. I would like him in a Spagnuolo defense a lot. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to say, oh, why are you not working on the defense? Well, you know, the reason that I already gave. All right. Let me try to come up with an analogy here. If you played basketball and you couldn't defend a lick, but you could shoot the fucking eyeballs out,
Mm-hmm.
what would you work on more often? Continue to shoot the fucking eyeballs out. Steph Curry couldn't defend me. Although he once did. He did. I had 6. I was half of our offense because we lost 100-12.
Mm-hmm.
But he has a skill. This Kansas City offense has a skill. It can outscore you and it can beat you 16 ways to Sunday. And so, yeah, there is a merit. If you remember the Mike Martz-led St. Louis Rams, what did they do? They kept adding pieces to that offense, and you couldn't stop it.
Mm-hmm. It's one way I had not thought about it, but again, accepted. The Baltimore Ravens. Here you go, Stephen Tao. Here's your Baltimore Ravens coming up with the 27th overall pick as the order sits right now in the 2022 NFL Draft. And Jeremy's got him taking David Ojabo, the edge rusher out of Michigan. This is the other one. You've heard a lot about Aiden Hutchinson, not so much about David Ojabo, but this is, dare I say, a dog on the other side from Hutchinson.
He's also got an insane story. He was born overseas. He came here when he was like, I don't remember how old he was, but his parents have seen him play football like twice ever. He's so naturally gifted. And every time I watch him,
mm-hmm.
I can't stop seeing Odafe Owa in a stronger body. And then I can't stop thinking about, if you put one on one side and one on the other side, that becomes a fucking terrifying pass rush. And it gets back to the heyday of the Ravens. That's what they're missing.
Mm-hmm.
Owa is super raw, but he is so damn fast and so athletic and so hyper-talented. Ojabo is, this is a guy that can beat you multiple ways. Crazy good story, crazy good kid from everything I've been told.
Second round, Martin Emerson, cornerback out of Mississippi State.
I fully believe if he had played anywhere else, he'd be a first-rounder. And I mean any motherfucking where else. He got put in so many bad situations at Mississippi State, and you're having to defend all of the ones in the SEC. Do you realize how many good receivers there are in the SEC?
There's a bunch.
You might as well be playing in the fucking NFL. Hell, there's 5 of them in this draft that he had to line up on, and he was pretty damn good at it.
2 picks in the third round. Devontae Price, the running back out of FIU.
I'm going to make him a thing. I love that kid. You look at stats on him and you'll go, how in the hell did he get drafted in the third round? Watch the tape. He's a bowling ball, and he's a pretty damn fast bowling ball.
So this is the Gus Edwards replacement.
I'm not going to say Gus Edwards replacement because he can do more than just straight line run at you.
Mm-hmm.
I think he can be a compliment. And 2 years from now, he could be a Gus Edwards replacement.
But we have J.K. Dobbins as well.
Mm-hmm. He's a nice compliment to J.K. Dobbins.
Okay. And then the other third-round pick that Baltimore has comes with the 37th pick in the third round. Jarrett Patterson, the center out of Notre Dame. This is your other center in this draft.
And to me, the value gets to be too good. With a team like this, you have to look at the interior of this line and go, it is so important to have multiple pieces. Would it be nice if I could find them a tackle? Yes, it would. But I can't. The bad thing about being Baltimore is that when we put this whole mock draft out, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. If I remember correctly, in the 5 picks directly preceding all 4 of these picks, I think a tackle went in front of them every single time.
Right.
So it just never worked out that way.
Which means come draft time, that front office will be able to foresee that happening and trade up.
But see, I can't do that.
That's what the Ravens do.
Yeah, see, I can't do that here.
Yeah, I get it. I'm just saying, don't be surprised if that happens on draft day. Baltimore's got a hell of a front office. Any other team in the NFL wishes they had the front office and the chops that the Baltimore Ravens have in finding the right guy at the right time in drafts.
Don't be shocked if it happens on Draftmas.
The Tennessee Titans, they got 1 pick in the first round, 1 pick in the third round, picking at 29th overall. This is where you've got Jalen Weidermeyer, the tight end from Texas A&M, coming off the board.
I just feel like you've got to add weapons. Receiver has been hemorrhaged by this point because there have been so many going. I mean, Treylon Burks goes 2 spots in front of us. Mm-hmm. There's another one that goes right in front of them. And I just look at Jalen Weidermeyer and go, that's an immediate day 1 starter. He has been a much better blocker this year than he was in years previous. And he's still just an athletic freak of fucking nature. I love this kid. I still like Trey McBride's still my number 1 tight end.
Okay.
Unless you're looking for a Jonnu Smith type. This kid is better at that. I feel like he would be part of I don't want to call it a rotation, but I feel like if Tennessee had their druthers, they would just have a series of guys. Because you watch them now and go, there are a lot of interchangeable pieces on this team. I mean, take A.J. Brown out of that because he's not interchangeable and neither is Julio Jones. You have those 2 on the outside and Weidermeyer down the middle. Good luck, Mr. Safety, dealing with this.
Yep.
Because unless you have Isaiah Simmons playing safety, I know he plays linebacker. You're going to really struggle with a tight end that's this big and this athletic coming right down the seam at you.
In the third round, Terrell Bernard, linebacker out of Baylor.
This is one of those intangible kids. You just watch him on tape and go, son of a bitch, there's not one damn thing you do overly well. Mm-hmm. Doesn't miss tackles very often. But I think he's been coached well. I think he would come into this defense. He kind of reminds me there's a comp here, and I'm blanking on who it is. Kind of reminds me, to be really honest with you, kind of reminds me of Fred Warner. Like a really poor man's Fred Warner.
Okay.
He just does everything well. Mm-hmm. He's just one of those guys you look at and go, you're not going to fail in this league. You're just not. You work too hard. It's very obvious. You're very instinctive. Now why does he go at the back end of the third round? Because he doesn't have that one trait. He's not going to run stupidly fast. He's not going to come in and measure particularly well. He's not going to have 4% body fat. Mm-hmm. But he's just going to be Bill Romanowski. That's who I was looking for.
Okay.
Much more than Fred Warner. That's a much better comparison. Forget I said that. He's not the biggest. He's not the fastest. He's not anything. He's just very instinctual, and he's very good at what he's asked to do.
Mm-hmm. Is he as vicious as Romanowski, though?
No.
I was gonna say, and I think a lot of that had to do with the roids, but
well, of course it did. But Romo was undersized and was not, and I can't remember exactly what Bernard's measurables are. Mm-hmm. I'm not quite to that point yet, but I will get there by draft night.
All right, I know you're not looking forward to this. I'm not either.
No.
And when I saw this draft class, I went, you mother, how, Satan, what, God, yeah. The New England Patriots.
It's going to piss you off.
Yeah, it is. It's going to piss you off a whole lot. They pick at
Unless
31.
you're a Patriots fan. Now, if you're a Patriots fan, yeah, you're going to be insufferable for a minute.
Right. Not necessarily convinced that they're going to pick at 31 this year because I don't think they're going to make that deep of a run in the playoffs, but
that's where they're lined up right now.
That's where they're lined up right now.
AFC.
At number 31, Drake Jackson out of USC.
Because of course you do. Your coach made a deal with Satan himself, and that's how shit like that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Drake Jackson's very raw because I don't think he's been coached particularly well. But the sheer brute gifts you were born with, he could end up being the best pass rusher in this draft, not named Aiden Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeau. And it wouldn't shock me in the least.
I'd agree.
He is freakishly talented.
Mm-hmm.
Can stand up. He's very mobile. He's just a badass.
Yeah, yes.
But I don't feel like he was coached well at USC, and there wasn't a whole lot to be afraid of other than him. Plus, the secondary was so bad the vast majority of the time that, okay, cool, you can get here in 2.5 seconds. Oh, I'll get rid of the ball in 2.
Second round, Henry To'o, the transfer from Tennessee to Alabama. Nick Saban's got there is the connection between Nick Saban and Bill Belichick, and Bill Belichick likes Alabama kids. I know he's only been there for a year, but Henry To'o would be a pretty damn good addition to the second line here.
He's just another one of those linebackers that fits the Patriot way. He just does his job.
Mm-hmm.
That's an ultimate, probably Dante Hightower replacement that could play beside him for a while. He's got some coverage limitations. Running backs have really seemed to fuck with him. It's Bill. Bill's the minion of the Antichrist. He's going to scheme him to be incredibly productive, and he's been one of the most productive linebackers in college football for 2 solid years.
Yeah.
That's the most new. That pick makes the most sense of any pick that I did in this, and I feel like most of them made a whole lot of damn sense.
The third round, you get a weapon for Mac Jones, George Pickens, wide receiver out of Georgia, who's been hurt mostly this year.
Yeah, he had one catch against Georgia Tech. He played. It was very obvious Stetson Bennett was trying to get him the ball against Alabama and just couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm. He's the most talented wide receiver that Georgia has.
By a lot. And he's a very talented player. He's a kid that I like the tape on a lot. Injury history is going to jump off the page at a lot of teams.
Yep.
Missed the vast majority of the year. I'm not overly worried about that, especially at this point. George Pickens could be what Bill Belichick fell for N'Keal Harry to be. Because he can high point a football. He's got a big frame. He can be a very good run blocker. He just fits what New England does so well. And he's that one guy that you actually have to be scared of. I'm sure somebody's going to ask, well, then why does he last this long? Because there will be teams that fail him on the medical.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably going to be a third of the league's going to fail him on the medical. And I love the kid. Now, I've never seen a medical chart, but I can just tell you from what little I have seen against Georgia Tech and the way he ran against Alabama, I'm fine.
Yep.
Long term, couldn't tell you. But I can tell you, if he stays healthy, this will be one of those value picks that you look at Bill Belichick and go, yeah, this you signed your name on the bottom of a cocktail napkin, and it was written by the Lord of the Underworld.
Well, see, getting George Pickens in the third round would be a great makeup for the N'Keal Harry pick that you
absolutely because
bungled.
You should have taken N'Keal Harry in the third round, and George Pickens should have been a back end of the first rounder.
Agreed.
So weird how things even out that way.
All right, last in the AFC in order of appearance in the 2022 NFL Draft. It is the team that doesn't have a first-round pick because they're going to lose it to the Philadelphia Eagles. The Indianapolis Colts. In the second round, you've got them taking Arnold Ebiketie, the edge rusher out of Penn State.
You put him on the other side of Kwity Paye, and you have a ferocious pass rush for years to come. With DeForest Buckner in the middle, with Darius Leonard off the ball behind him. When you don't have a first-round pick, and now maybe this is my bias showing, because I love Arnold Ebiketie. I think he can be Odafe Owa light. Is he as naturally gifted? No. Is he as hyper-athletic? No. But he's close.
Mm-hmm.
He's super close. And I feel like this is a 10-year pass rusher in this league. He may play one down. He might trot in on third down and just go, hey, y'all, I'm here to eat gummy bears and fuck bitches, and I'm all out of gummy bears. So I like this kid so much. Mm-hmm. And I just have this funny feeling that he is going to fall to a team that does not have a first-round pick, and they're going to go, yeah, that's our first-round pick. Because we watched the tape. We pressed hard on day 2 picks. We found this guy, and we see all of the intangibles and all of the things. Another knock on him is going to be how talented that defense is. I don't care.
And then the 3rd-round pick, Abraham Lucas, tackle out of Washington State.
This is one of the weirder evaluations in this draft because I love the raw tape on him. The problem is, it's kind of like I feel about myself that I was born in the wrong generation with all these people on Instagram. Yes, I do see the irony of that. That are, oh, look, I'm making a cake and take a picture. I was born in the wrong generation. Abraham Lucas, he was at the wrong school. Very much in the same way of, I need to be at a Georgia Tech or, and Georgia Tech's a bad one because they run the spread now, Army, or I think he can be a fucking mauler. And it's a lot of projection because that is not how Washington State played. Mm-hmm. But I see the raw. He's going to fall because there is some less than ideal tape. Getting over his toes. I haven't said the word bend yet, so he's very bendy. Mm-hmm. I can't do a mock draft without saying bend at some point.
Indeed. And this has been the first half of the 2022 3-round mock draft, the first of the season.
Do you just love these mock drafts because all you have to do is go team and swoop, and set me down and let me go? Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, you make my job easier, and that's why we have a perfect relationship. We appreciate everybody joining us here in the Sportsocracy for this first part of the first 2022 Sportsocracy mock draft.
This one will be cut up by team, put out on TikTok, Instagram, all those things. When you see those things, please just click the little heart, share them, however we can get these out to more people. We are figuring this out as we go. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, we have HWA that knows social media things infinitely better than we do, and that's why we now have a TikTok and a Bumble or Tinder or whatever the fuck else we have. I don't even know.
Have you checked your Grindr account lately?
No, fuck off. Jason Trump said Jeremy's a wind-up doll. It's better than a blow-up doll. So.
Well, this is true. This is true as well. We will do the NFC. We will have that recorded and out to you tomorrow. So be sure to tune in for that as well.
Rare Saturday show. Mm-hmm. It won't be live. Won't be live.
Right.
But yeah, this is my favorite time of the year. And this is where we deep dive into draft stuff. We have some super cool shit that we can't wait to show you. I'm going to be able to do some actual X's and O's breakdowns where I can use plays and things like that because we figured out how to do it.
Nice.
You can see me go full body with my telestrator finger and all that. Yeah. That takes me full 6 to midnight.
Like, share, follow, all the things on the Sportsocracy social media channels. Don't forget to be back here with us this afternoon on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. The Sportsocracy every weekday afternoon at 3 o'clock. And, of course, we'll be right back here on YouTube. We will see you then.